Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back. Welcome back to another pre-market live stream. Kind of shift this around a little bit, do that, do some of this. Don't really need that, that. Pull this down. All right. So good morning, guys. Good morning, good morning. All right, so a couple things on the watch list. Obviously, by the title, you can see what. So far this morning, didn't really appear like there was any good penny stocks. I mean, MDR. So there's a couple things moving, but nothing really piqued interest too much. You could keep an eye on some old ones from last week, which would be SES, BIMI, and WWR or WRR. Those ones might have some dead cat bounce trades you can make, but other than that, don't really see a whole lot of activity in the penny stocks today. Good morning from the ladies and gentlemen. So we got a couple ones here, and that is going to be Netflix, AMD, and Boeing. So Netflix didn't do so well on its earnings day and didn't do so well on Friday. And today we're going to continue to watch it short. So earnings day we were short, Friday we were short, and today we're going to remain short. Granted, it has had two big down days, so we might be ready for kind of a bounce day, or it might not be as easy of a down day. Hell, it might not even go down today. But nonetheless, going to continue following this trend or watching it to the short side. Really, there doesn't look like there's any reason to be long on it for the time being. If you kind of look to the left, we're not really at any bounce point. The nearest support we have is going to be down here at about 265. Right now we're at 273. So again, probably going to remain short bias until we get down to at least 265. And then from there, we might look for a short-term long play or bounce. But again, for now, we're going to remain short bias on Netflix. Kind of a go-to play here. It could probably just be a short below the pre-market low. You might get a better short average price if it pops up and then rolls over, but that's probably going to be the key area that a lot of people are watching for today, is below the pre-market low on Netflix right now. So nonetheless, pretty much same thing as the past couple days. Netflix short bias, see if we get continuation in the downside off of their shitty earnings day. Nope, nothing really crazy today. Roku, the Roku, I kind of want to be short on it. I don't really care to be long. The only long play I could see on Roku would be kind of a double bottom bounce off of Friday's lows. Other than that, nothing too crazy. Boeing got just absolutely wrecked kind of mid to late day Friday. There's some more news coming out about their whole airplane debacle, and so quite a couple things going on there, but nonetheless, you can see the stock is pretty much getting hammered. So we're going to play this very similar. We played Netflix, just a continuation short. Now, if you look at the daily chart here with Boeing, you will see that from Friday, it got hammered. And so, more oftentimes than not, people would not want to come in and start buying this up yet, because we're not really down at a support. We still have some room to go, but we are getting into that more desirable buy point. So would say probably to remain short bias on Boeing today, maybe tomorrow, looking for that continuation. You can see how big the volume was here on Friday. We got up to 13, almost 14 million on the day. So definitely large volume coming in on that sell day. Yeah, so we're going to follow for continuation. So far, we're on a gap down, just kind of hanging, fading. Nonetheless, going to be short bias here on Boeing because of Friday. Look at Friday. Friday snapped support and just got wrecked with the bad news. Again, don't really think we're going to see a lot of people coming in trying to buy this up today, thinking this is the best time to buy it, right? News is still kind of fresh. Kind of wait for people to process it more. So for me, if I were to look for a bounce on Boeing, it'd be down into like at least a 330. I wouldn't really care to buy it anywhere, but at least 330, maybe down at 319, 320. So Connor, what do you consider rumor? So yeah, you're talking about buy the rumor, sell the news. I mean, that would have been like, for example, I think, was it the last interest rate cut we got into the market, right? There's talks of being an interest rate cut, and people would buy into the market before the interest rate cut, anticipating that it was probably going to happen. And then once it does happen, the market kind of sells off because we already had bought in the move. So that, I mean, yeah, that's just it. When you hear someone talking of something but it hasn't happened, I mean, that's it. That's the rumor. We haven't really gone. We've talked of Roku, haven't gone over it. And then last, I'm just going to touch here on AMD real fast. So I have two shorts, which are obviously Netflix and Boeing. Short bias on those. And then today for AMD, I want to be to the long side. So it's already having a decent move here pre-market. So this arguably might take away from the good, easy, fluent long play that it could have from buy market open. But if you look at this, right, we're kind of top, down, back up, over. So we just kind of pushed all the way back through all the resistance. And then I had this red dotted level here at about 3150. So if we go back a little bit, 30, yeah, I don't know, it's just right there. But anyways, so we got some more resistance here at about 32. So arguably we might get up to 32, possibly over it. We'll see. But right now, AMD is definitely more on the bull side. And if the market does have a good day, continues to perform well, I think it's doing okay so far today. But if it continues to do pretty well, we should see AMD continue to push higher here. So we're going to be on the long side, right? Definitely on the long side. Because when you look at this, right, look at this big dip, and you can see it just gets instantly bought back up and over. That's bullish, right? We just had a really strong dip down, and it gets sucked right back up and then curls up. So far, it's pretty strong momentum there on AMD. No, I really don't trade upgrades or downgrades. I don't really listen to upgrades or downgrades by any means. And a good example of that would be, for example, a good example of why I don't listen to upgrades is because the whole time, everybody was upgrading BYND to like 250, 260, 300, 400. I was actually downgrading BYND to like 150. Same thing with Tilray. When Tilray was like up to 300 and people are giving it upgrades of like 200, 500. I'm like, well, no, I'm actually downgrading that to like 20, 40, maybe $50 a share. And so again, that just, for example, right? There's so many different ways to look at it. So I don't really listen to analyst upgrades or downgrades. I do to a certain extent, but it's not in the means of trading it the way that they want you or think that it should go. No. What happens when a stock has 3 gap downs in the last 3 months on the daily chart, then pops up on your scan? Nothing. It just has 3 gap downs. This means it's probably trending or moving down. If there's a gap down or something and then the stock starts to kind of bounce and starts to break into one of the gap zones, then yeah, you could consider like a gap fill long trade. Yep, still short bias on BYND. Still have my option short on BYND from last week. So that's doing pretty well. But yeah, still short bias on BYND currently. Do I play earnings? Yes, and maybe not in the way you're referring. Don't play earnings before earnings. I don't generally do that. Occasionally I might, but generally just play earnings after they've reported the following day. So Netflix reports earnings, following day market opens, then I'll trade it. I don't buy Netflix and then try to capitalize on the earnings report move. All right, so we'll go take a peek over at Roku. So yeah, right, Roku, big down day Friday. Bounces at like almost 125. This morning kind of curling around. Oh, excuse me. And so, I mean, when you kind of take a step back, or maybe let me zoom out here. You zoom out, look at the 4 hour. I mean, this was a big bounce, right? As we said, look for longs in the 100s. And then it bounced 40 points. And then now we're pulling back, just as we said. We're like, watch it. You know, it's more of a sell now. You know, as it started getting up here, we're like, yeah, it's more of a sell. Not a time to buy. And now it rolls and pushes down. And this is a big sell-off, right? And so I don't really consider it's hard to believe that Roku's going to break through to the downside 125 today. It could, and if it does, then I would look for bounces around like 118, 120, 119. But yeah, I mean that's the way I go about watching it, is looking for, you can already see it's starting to kind of bounce here, right? We're already kind of bouncing in that zone. So yeah, I would look for a bounce, you know, kind of an intraday trade long off these lows. And that's just it. If it breaks down that, you could look for a long at 119. But for me right now, I'm pretty much just kind of sitting on standby with Roku. There's nothing particular I like about it to want me to trade it for now. No, you don't have to watch the stock till the closing bell. If you want, just because there's volume on the stock doesn't mean that you should. So yeah, I mean, trading is all about how you want to trade and how long you want to trade. And so, I mean, yeah, obviously if the stock has a lot more volume, right, or there's continuously growing volume throughout the day, then yeah, it could probably perform a little better, maybe move better than some others, or than it would on a typical day. And it might make you want to trade it longer, or yeah. So yeah, I agree with that to a certain extent. Yep, SAP did have good earnings, kind of pushing up this morning. I wasn't really crazy about it just because based on how it typically trades, it doesn't look like it gets that much volume, and it's just not a candidate that I would specifically put energy and time in on for trading, because it just doesn't meet the requirements for me that I would like. So, I mean, so for me, I'd rather be in when the time is right, PG only for a trade. And so, if I'm going to trade something, I'm going to be looking for the ideal moment before it really starts to move. And if I get in before it starts to move and then it pops up and then starts to run and then all of a sudden it gets halted, yeah, then I would remain in the trade or take some off before the halt. And then, yeah, I've been on the halt, right? But if it moves and it's about to get halted, or it starts getting halted and I can't get filled, and I'm not going to worry about trying to trade in that direction, because at that point the risk becomes so much greater. I don't really want to risk it. And then if I miss that move and that it does something like BNGO and then kind of gaps down, that's a very predictable trade. So I'd rather just wait for that backside trade than try and trade the front side that's already maybe gapped and halted a few times, because again, risk is just so much greater, right? So to me, it's about finding how to navigate through things without having to put too much skin and risk too much. Roku, can you apply fib retracements in Roku? Possibly. Probably at some point they might work, yes. Consistently trading for like, I don't know. Actually, let's see. It's 2000. Well, it's 1021. So almost 6.5, probably 6.5 years, 6 years. In UGAS for the next month and a half. I'm assuming you're probably in UGAS for the next month and a half due to the seasonal change coming into winter, expecting natural gas to maybe go in somewhat of a shortage and then demand to increase, which then would the price of UGAS would increase. I can get behind that. Roku's a hot stock. That's what it is, right? So Jason, so why would you see Roku all the time? Today I'm not actually trading Roku. It's just kind of on the chart because we're talking about it. But why would I be following something like Roku? Because Roku's a hot stock with a lot of volume, and that's what you want to be looking at as a trader. Things that are hot, things that people are talking about, and things that have a lot of volume, right? Like I can show you something that no one's talking about. Ready? Let's see, like SYMC. Like this stock, no one's talking about this. No volume. Go to the 1 minute chart. Pretty ugly to trade. No one's talking about it. No one's trading it. All right. So if Roku, everyone's talking about it, it's a hot stock. It's worth watching every day. I mean, look at this, right? Look at this move. You just had a 176 down to 100, so a 76-point move, and then the 40-point bounce, right? And then look at these days, 110 to 117. And you got a day here, 122 to 133, and then so it's just a hot stock, right? A lot of movement, a lot of volume. Criteria for a hot stock is just a lot of movement, a lot of volume, right? That's how you know it's hot. Well, not necessarily, but yeah, hot stock would be anything that has a lot of volume, more than it typically does, and has a big range, and it trades really well, sees good formation, things like that. Wait, your question is the SPY topped out or trending down? I would say the SPY isn't trending down, still trending up. Let's see, the 4-hour chart puts us right there. Yeah, I would be, I'm kind of more on the bull. I was gonna say I was kind of on the bull side earlier this morning for the market. Probably still gonna be more on the bull side, but no, we're not trending down because we haven't made a lower high just yet. We're still in an uptrending fashion, but we're also still trending into an upward wedge for the time being. We're still wedging up, right? We're kind of putting in some higher highs, putting in some higher lows, but we're not really breaking out. Thus, we're kind of going into a wedge that could lead you to a big sell-off very easily. So we'll see. And even if we do break into new highs, what's going to happen is if we break into all-time highs here, the bulls are going to come out of nowhere and go, see, we told you, no recession. No recession. It's not going to happen because we're into all-time highs. It's like just because the market goes into all-time highs, it has nothing to do with future economics. Anyways, so even if we do go into all-time highs, what's probably going to happen is there's going to be the opposite of what I think. It'll be an opposite of a panic buy. We're going to go into it'll be the opposite of a panic sell, and it will turn into a panic buy where everyone's going to go, oh, I should have bought. I knew it. All this recession talk, it's not going to happen. I should have bought. And they're all going to start buying up like crazy, push us into an all-time high, and then that's when you want to take advantage of that big move up and start selling into that move because, again, we're probably going to go into recession. Things will get worse. And so I think we might go into a panic buy as well. That's another possibility. Start of penny stock season, October. So basically start of the seasonal change from warm to cold, pretty much. So yeah, October to like March, maybe April. Sometimes I trade Amazon. Why don't I? So like days where I'll trade Amazon, it's really got to be, for me, it's like, it's got to be something hot. You got to have like a lot of volume or really be breaking out on it. It's just not something I typically focus on. Not that I couldn't trade it, but it's just something that if I am going to trade, it's got to be some really good news or be having a really big day. Just because the spread tends to be so big on it. That yeah, if I'm going to trade that, I really gonna want it to be a good day to trade it, not just a typical day. I'm always focusing on higher price stocks, and I'm only focusing on low price stocks when they matter. So that's kind of the difference for me. A lot of traders focus on just penny stocks and then don't focus on any large cap. And then when there's no penny stocks to trade, then they have nothing to trade and they force trading because there is nothing that's good to trade. Whereas I just mainly focus on large cap stocks, and then I'll focus on penny stocks when they're worth focusing on. So that alleviates me from focusing on penny stocks when I shouldn't be focusing on them. And I only focus on them when they're worth focusing on. So I consistently always have something that's pretty decent to trade, and then I can have something that's really good to trade when the penny stocks are worth trading. If penny stock season is dead in the summer, then how do shorts find the penny stocks you short in the summer season? I mean, shorts find shorts through their broker if they're hard to borrow shorts. I mean, I get that question. is can't really answer. It doesn't really make sense. I mean, just because the penny stock season is dead doesn't mean that people don't find things to trade. Just means what they're trading probably isn't as good as what it would be if it was in penny stock season. There's still some penny stocks that make some moves, but they're usually not really, really good moves in the summer. All right, any Hooser was about 8:58. Yep. All right, guys. I'm gonna run. I'm gonna get back to our private group and our private stream here, but I appreciate each and every one of you guys tuning in as always. And if you guys would, before you head out the door, give the video a thumbs up, as we only have one thumbs up, but I would appreciate that. All right, guys. Everybody, take care. Have a good rest of your day, and I'll see you guys on was it Tuesday? Yeah, I'll see you guys on Tuesday.